What is going on, guys? My name is AK, back again with another YouTube video. Now in today's video we'll be looking at all of the equipment that you need to go pro, maybe what is a nice to have and what really is unnecessary and only really you should buy if you have the spare money to do so. Hopefully this should help you aspiring pro players just like me know what you need to prioritize your money on, because I'm not going to lie, it can get quite expensive buying all the things that you think you need for competitive Call of Duty. So this way you know what to prioritize, what to spend your money on first, and what maybe can wait until a little bit later. But hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this video. If you do, be sure to drop a like, and let's get straight into it. So first and foremost, we are starting with arguably the most important thing, and that is what platform should you use for competitive play. And now, I'm going to say it, if you're on old gen, you have to upgrade. Old gen consoles, although you can compete in challenges, which is the path to pro in amateur Call of Duty, old gen consoles aren't going to cut it. You're not going to get the frame rate and the sort of the processing power out of one of them that you need to be able to seriously compete on the top level of competitive Call of Duty. In fact, there is no one in, I dare say, the top 16, 32 teams in competitive Call of Duty that plays on old-gen console. That's PS4 and Xbox One. I don't think anyone does that's at the top. So if you want a good shot, my best option would be to consider upgrading to either PC, which I know can get quite expensive, especially with the graphics card market at the moment, or if there is availability, a new-gen console when at all possible. Now this will most likely be your biggest expense when upgrading to the equipment that you need for competitive Call of Duty, if of course you don't already have one. If you do already have a new gen console or PC, you're in a good position. Maybe if you have a PC already, maybe just do a couple of upgrades in terms of graphics cards and processors that will sort of put you in a better position. But yeah, if not, and you're still on the old gen, the PS4s, the Xbox Ones, you should definitely be considering an upgrade to either PC, if you've got the money to, or if not, certainly a new gen console, or PS5, or one of the new Xboxes. Now, I definitely would recommend getting a job. In fact, that's what I did to afford my PC a few years ago. Actually, this was before it was even announced that Call of Duty was moving to sort of the cross-platform that it did at the start of Cold War. I just wanted a PC for video editing and just for playing a few PC games as well at the time. So I got a job and pretty much spent 6 months of working all towards my PC, and well, luckily it paid off. But anyway, if you need to upgrade the system that you're playing on, make that your first priority. Now, the next thing that we're getting into is monitors. Now, there's a lot to get into, but the two main things you want to look at when judging is your monitor good enough are the response time and the refresh rate. These two are basically to determine how fast your monitor can actually send the information from the game to you and how frequently per second it can do this. Now, I'd say what the minimum requirements for your monitor you're going to want are at least 60 FPS and 2 milliseconds response time. Ideally, if you can get a 144 Hz or higher even, and a 1 millisecond response time, that is going to be the best. But definitely the minimum you're going to want is at least 60. Anything less than that, I don't even know if they make monitors less than 60. But of course, if you're playing on a TV, that's going to have very slow response time. You're looking maybe 5-10 milliseconds on that, which is really going to be a big hindrance if you're used to playing with a monitor, and when you switch you're going to know instantly how much better it feels. So definitely if you're playing on a TV, look to buy a dedicated monitor, and again, the higher refresh rate and the lower response time is something that you're going to be after. Now, I would say, especially with both new gen consoles actually being able to put out to 120 FPS, if possible, grab yourself a 144 Hz monitor. This is mean that you're not going to get capped at that 60 FPS that the monitor can actually output, even though your system can actually deliver quite a bit more than that. Now, I do just want to say before we get any further into the video that you do have to consider these purchases as a sort of investment. If you do truly believe that you can go pro, which I'm sure if you're watching my videos you do think that there's a chance for that, then you have to consider them an investment, because of course if everything does work out, you're going to more than pay these things back within the next couple of years. So really, I know they might seem quite expensive, but if you think you can do it, or even if you can just do well in online tournaments and start to sort of make a bit of a name for yourself like that, either way, these are going to start paying themselves back. Maybe not in full, but at least a decent amount. And of course, if it's something you love doing, then, well, you're willing to spend a bit of money on that anyway. Right, so the next thing I want to talk about is controllers. Now, do you need a SCUF controller or a Battle Beaver or any other kind of modded controller with paddles? Now, personally, I'm going to say this is an essential, and yes, you do need one. Now, when compared to the average controller, a SCUF is going to completely outperform it in literally everything. You know, you've got the paddles on the back so that you don't have to take your fingers off the sticks. You've got the trigger stops, you've got the grips, anything to make the gameplay more comfortable and a whole lot faster. So definitely, I would consider upgrading to a custom controller. It doesn't have to be a SCUF. You know, Battle Beaver do good controllers, and I'm sure there are other companies out there that do the same. But personally, I definitely would recommend upgrading to one if you haven't already. And I know there's going to be people out there that say, oh, why don't you just play claw? Now, if you don't know what claw is, it's sort of where you hold the controller in a grip a bit like this, and you use this finger here to press the buttons on the D-pad there. And This is going to kill your fingers. Like, I've tried to play it for just a couple of weeks when I had a SCUF controller that was sort of being shipped to me, and ow, it hurts. Like, if you're going to play any more than a couple hours on that, you are really going to start to get pain in your hands. And personally, as someone that is trying to go pro and wants a nice long career, if I do, I don't think I want to put my hands through that amount of strain for however many hours a day for however many years. So I personally would say in thinking about your wrists and just thinking about getting good at the game, I would definitely consider picking up a SCUF or similar controller. I myself actually have 2 of these, and I have explained this in the past, but if you don't know, I keep 2 in case one breaks. I mean, personally, my experience with SCUF controllers hasn't been too bad. I've never really had any that have like properly broken on me. I've only sort of upgraded onto new systems, and of course, when we move to PC, I prefer the feel of Xbox controllers, so I grabbed one of them over my old PS controller. And last but not least, in today's video, we'll be talking about the headset. Do you need a £150 headset with a £50 TR mod kit on top of that? Or will a pair of £60 HyperX Cloud 2s do you just fine? Now, if you've been watching my videos and live streams for a while, you realise that I made a switch to this headset quite a while ago, actually, sort of towards the start of the year. And you know what? I've had no problems with it at all, and certainly don't feel I'm at any disadvantage as to when I used to play with these Astros. I actually made the switch because the mic on these was broken, and I had to get a new headset, and I didn't have too much money, so went out and got a pair of these HyperX Cloud 2s. And you know what? I've had no issue with them whatsoever. The only difference being that the Astros maybe are a slight bit comfier for long extended periods of gaming, but definitely in terms of sound quality and what you need to actually be able to play the game well and hear footsteps and everything like that, these do the job absolutely fine. So with that, I'm going to go out and say that Astros and other high-end headsets are not actually necessary, and any good pair of headphones like these, you know, HyperX, Corsair, any of these other brands that of course fit the system that you're playing on will do the job absolutely fine. Now, don't get me wrong, I do appreciate Astros and how comfy and how good they are in terms of headphones and how comfy they are, but for being able to hear footsteps and do all these other things in the game, they are simply not required. And so when it comes to prioritising what you want to buy, save your Astro headset until last. I suppose while we're here, I should mention a few other things that are very common purchases within competitive Call of Duty and the esports scene in general. Now, the first one is a controller modification, you know, Control Freaks. What they do is that you can attach them to your controller and they give your thumbsticks just a little bit extra height. Now, personally, I don't actually use these, although what I do use is a thumbstick on my SCUF that is slightly higher on the right-hand side, you know, the one that you actually use to aim. Just gives you a little bit more accuracy. So if you don't have a SCUF controller, you could potentially consider buying one. I wouldn't say that they're necessary, but they are a nice to have. And so if you don't have a SCUF controller with the raised sticks, maybe consider buying one. Now, the next one is the gaming chair. You've all heard the excuse if you get killed, oh, he just had a better gaming chair than me. And again, I'm going to say these are completely not necessary. Any comfy chair that you can sit in for a good few hours, you know, any office chair, really, that will do the job just fine. I like this because it makes a sort of a good background for the YouTube videos, and again, it is comfy, I'm not going to lie, it's nice to sit in, but really, my gameplay didn't improve moving from this from my old office chair. And lastly, to round it out, we have esports themed energy drinks. Now, the things like G Fuel, X Gamer, Sneak, I'm sure you guys know them, I'm sure you guys seen them advertised online. Are they necessary? Now, sometimes I'll have one before a tournament just to sort of get me in the zone, but really I definitely wouldn't say that they're necessary. They're only really good because of the high caffeine content they have. You can get this from coffee if you like coffee. I don't really, which is why sometimes I'll drink them, but really I find them more useful for going to the gym and sort of getting in the zone for going to the gym than I do actually for gaming. Generally, I don't normally drink them and usually just have water. But if you feel they might be useful, then go ahead, buy it, and just see how it makes you feel. You know, if you feel that you play better with them, then make sure that you take them before important matches. I wouldn't take them too often. You don't want to build up tolerance and then have to have 5 scoops of G Fuel just to get that same in the zone that you did when one scoop used to do it. But, you know, as long as you're taking them in moderation and sort of using them as they're meant to be used, again, they can be quite useful. And as I said, I do sometimes use them myself. But that is about it for today's video. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you do, be sure to drop a like. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.